YouTube, Facebook, despite the fact that it's an evil force in the world. We must balance the evil with something nice. And recording
in progress.
So, hello, beautiful people. Please join me in conjuring up a kind, appreciative thought. Something like, maybe something simple like I love you, or I'm grateful that you're here, or thanks for being. And take a moment to hover with your eyes over each person for a moment. Joshua and Trina, I see your, whatever wonderful creature that is. I hear you're back. Obviously, you're back from retreat. That's nice. Oh, there you are. Hi. You survived. Did you get enlightened? You both have halos. That's kind of cool. Yeah, wonderful. So pause for a moment. You may discover someone, maybe there's someone here you've never seen before. Maybe they haven't been before. But hello. How? I have some news from the center. The last I saw, the framing was almost in for the new fire door between the living room and the Dharma hall. They are expecting the door from the new ramp system into the Dharma hall to be installed on Monday. And I don't know if that means the windows beside it will go in then or not. I hope so. So it's really moving along. It's quite something to walk through the doors. In the offices downstairs are all in. The painting is completed in the downstairs. The new railings, there have to be new railings, code railings everywhere in the building. They're almost up. So it's good stuff. Wonderful stuff. Ours is an unusual building project for PNC Construction and SOJ Project Management. And our first meeting, we were getting to know each other, and I casually said something like, well, I'll consider the project a success if we all love each other at the end of it. And apparently that's not the usual thing one says at such a meeting. But particularly Kim, our project manager, par excellence, who has donated a humongous amount of time. Probably, I guess, many, many thousands of dollars of her time have been given to this project. And she said that it affected her in that she has approached the other projects she's in, and not overtly, but that's part of her goal in all of them. And that's similar to the Dalai Lama's statements so many, many times. I've heard him in person 10 times say, "My religion is kindness." So, a poem. I'm going to circle around once again today to impermanence. Its reality is more apparent to me now than ever. So this is a poem from, I don't know what I think it's in the 1800s, Dzogchen master Longchenpa. And it doesn't matter whether it was then or last week. Dzogchen is one of the practices, traditions, enlightenment traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. In the forest, by the example of dead leaves, come to realize that the body, youth, and the senses change gradually and do not possess any true essence. By the example of empty lotus ponds, come to realize that the various objects of desire, wealth, and prosperity are finally going to change, that there is no true essence in them, and that what is accumulated will be exhausted. By the example of the change of days, months, and the four seasons, come to realize that the blossoming spring flower-like body is subject to change as time passes. Its youth fades away and the arrival of the Lord of Death is certain. By the example of the fall of ripened fruit, come to realize that all, young, old, adult, are subject to die, that the time of death is uncertain, and that what is born will die. By the example of the arising of reflections in ponds, come to realize that the various phenomena appear, but have no true existence. They are like illusions, a mirage and a water moon. They are certain to be empty of true existence. Isn't that an interesting term, true existence? What does that mean? In the forest, by the example of dead leaves, come to realize that the body, youth, and senses change gradually and do not possess any true essence. By the example of empty lotus ponds, come to realize that various objects of desire, wealth, and prosperity are finally going to change, and that there is no true essence in them, and that what is accumulated will be exhausted. By the example of the change of days, months, and the four seasons, come to realize that the blossoming spring flower-like body is subject to change as time passes. Its youth fades away and the arrival of the Lord of Death is certain. By the example of the fall of ripened fruit, come to realize that all, young, adult, or old, are subject to die, and that the time of death is uncertain, and that what is born will die. By the example of the arising of reflections in ponds, come to realize that the various phenomena appear, but have no true existence. They are like illusions, a mirage and a water moon, and are certain to be empty of true existence. I just remembered as I read that I took several pictures the other day. Here's one. Anicca. could spend quite a lot of time looking at such a picture, or even better, sitting in one's backyard and being with that truth, beauty of it. So, friends, let us remind ourselves who of a container, beautiful container for our practice. It's been so for generations, many generations down through time. I was messing with the tuning here a little while ago. Change. One of the things I really like about the guitar is it is such a beautiful example of impermanence. It sings out at us impermanence. So we can notice the arising out of no-thingness. And on the guitar, the attack, the start of the sound is very sudden, and then there's a diminution over time. Beginning and ending. And we can put the sounds together into something harmonious or something disharmonious. We can use it as a support for remembering, reciting the refuges. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sangaya, Namo Sangaya, Namo Sangaya. Sangaya. Namo Sangaya. I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami. And of course, the refuges aren't something that we recite once or the reciting of them is actually just a pointer to every moment. Every moment which is the living moment, the only one we ever have. I aspired to be awake in this moment. I aspire to know it as it actually is, which includes I aspire to recognize in this very moment the utter truth of anicca, non-permanence. And I take refuge in the community of practice and those millions of people down through time who have followed this way and became more and more loving and compassionate, wiser, who suffered less and less. The Sangha. If we did nothing more than gather together and stop for a while, it would be life transformative. Because we put down at least for a little while, we put down our usual worldly pursuits of happiness, the pursuit of completion, the pursuit of achievement. And we come rather quickly nose to nose with the miracle of mindfulness. The miracle of consciousness. Something that we take for granted so easily. And we can be aware. We can direct this awareness even. We can be aware of the contact the body makes with the cushion or the chair. we can become aware of the life in that corner of the universe that we call, each of us, we call my hands and fingers. And let's go beneath the names, even beneath what's expected. And what do we notice? There is a living, I could say vibrating, but that's not the right word. Scintillating, that's not right either. There is life, and there is awareness of this life. And there may be incidental sounds from this end or from your own environment. Sounds, hearing. Is there anything enduring about hearing? If we were to invite awareness to open in the lips and the tongue, the cheeks, again, if we go beneath lips, tongue, cheeks, if we go before them, what do we find? It's life again. And the oldest friend of this lifetime, our most enduring, loyal friend, the coming and going of the breath, is another place we can abide, we can rest. And here again, let's go beneath the word rising or falling, or breathing in or breathing out. Let us dive into the actual life. Each breath really does have a beginning, doesn't it? And that beginning doesn't last but a nanosecond before it's the rising of the chest and abdomen. But even that's not a thing, is it? Even that does not have true existence. Because rising turns to pausing, turns to falling, turns to gone. Sounds arise and disappear. In observing breathing, is there such a thing as a breath? Does a breath have true existence? Is it of a piece? The more intimate we become with life, in this case the breath, the more it loses its substantiality, its solidity. And we could now demonstrate the solidity of the self by deciding that for the next 5 minutes, there will be just the breath in awareness and no wandering mind. I decide this. It's almost funny. How come I can't control this thing? It's mine, isn't it? And so we have a practice, we have a training regime, a strategy. To the best of my ability, I intend to stay deeply present and aware and engaged with the sensations of breathing. And then whenever you discover that the mind is wandering, not only does it provide an opportunity for waking up, it's also a blazing teaching about impermanence. What's stable here? It can be helpful as another strategic action to add some simple, quiet mental notes to the mix. Notes that point at what's happening. Rising, rising, falling, falling. Wandering, wandering, returning, returning. Rising, rising, falling, falling. Thinking, thinking, worrying, worrying. Planning, planning. Rising, rising, falling, falling. So we are cultivating heart mindfulness, a warm appreciation of experiencing what's happening. Finding an objective position to observe, to become accustomed to and to become wise about the constant impermanence that is this experience of self. And we can rededicate ourselves, which is the refuge in the Buddha, in the moment. How intimate dare I become with this breath? How intimate dare I become with this, the activities of the mind? To become truly intimate is to see the Dharma, to see what's true. As we come home to breathing time and again, In a way, it's as though we park the body here. Not to get out of it or get away from it. In a way, it's to restrain ourselves from all the various busynesses that we are involved in. And so we take a posture which we can actually hold for a while, that's comfortable for some time. And then we rest into this stillness, which allows the movements of the mind to become more and more apparent. And we bring to our practice, the practice of heart mindfulness, the intention of love and compassion as well. I aspire to love and accept myself, that which I experience as myself, exactly as I am in this moment. That's such a relief as we get more and more deeply into that. We don't have to be engaged in self-improvement in our meditation. I aspire to accept this moment as it is. And when I discover that there's suffering, there's pain, there's moods, I intend to hold myself, hold these moods, hold these body sensations in sweet, kind compassion. Sometimes there's impatience. It's like, why is this continuing? And what's wrong? And what did I do wrong? And what did they do wrong? And we simply observe that with as much love as we possibly can. And notice how it passes away. It's not solid. It is impermanent. And please now let us bring awareness into the contact with the chair, into the hands with each other, into the face, into the eyes, and embracing the aliveness of the eyes themselves. And then noticing the intention required to open the eyes. and the effort, and then operationalizing that and becoming aware of seeing when it happens. Seeing doesn't exist, and then it does. If we blink, it goes away again. Anicca. I would like to invite you to a party. As we have done for a bunch of years, there will be a gathering at New Year's, in this case on Zoom. And we'll probably start, I haven't talked with the other teachers about it yet. I'm not sure who will be able to participate. When we did it in the hall, we had some really wonderful adventures. We chanted, and we had a place to burn pieces of paper with things we wanted to relinquish on them, and a visit from the smoke detectors, and an opportunity to speak. And so we will create a ritual a lot like last year, but online. And start the new year with taking the refuges and so on. So more will be revealed, but that just occurred. Candle actually brought it up in a meeting I was in with her the other day. Speaking of Candle, she teaches every first and third Sunday nights, and she has a long list actually of other things she teaches, and I am having a devil of a time with my email. But Jim, when you're done, would you take a few moments when I start my talk? Would you see if you can find that email from her and paste that list of things into the chat? Can't find Jim. Where are you? Wait.
I'm here. I've got it up on my screen. I can
I
share
lost
it.
you. What was that?
Hello.
What was that?
I've got it up on my screen. I can share it.
Why don't you do it? I guess, yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, wait, yeah, you get sharing capacity.
So let me open this up. So this is what Candle sent out on Connections every Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's some moments that are gone. December 7th is no longer. But, or is it? Yeah, it's gone. But we got 14, 21, and 28. The first and third Sundays, the first is gone, but the third is coming up on the 19th. And then the second Monday of each month is tomorrow, I guess. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. 6:30 to 8:30. So those are um, her regular schedule, and then she has another group that meets, uh, and she's going to do that again with um,
Jim,
people
let's
who
let's
identify.
let's
So there
post
it is.
this rather than read it all, okay?
Oh, right. I just wanted to mention that she's going to start up again in January.
Yeah. All right. You want to do some movement
Yeah.
and you're still capable of standing?
Not only standing, but going out to the garage to lift the broken door so my wife could go to church.
I see.
I'm very grateful for this these two legs and this body today. I'm back here now. Let me turn on the spotlight and move into a better position. All right. So we can do some standing, getting in touch with the bottoms of our feet. And rocking, noticing how the sensations change as the rocking takes place. We have sensations here, and we have sensations here, where the other end of the cycle. There's a cycle of rhythmic movement set up. But it brings the attention to our
I can't
connection
hear
to the earth.
anything, Jim. Can anyone else?
Pardon me? Yeah, I'm on. If someone's
I can hear.
all right. So I was going to begin with rising and falling the way we were practicing impermanence with the breath. We breathe in and the rib cage rises, and we release and it falls, and we just note rising, falling. We can on the next exhale sink, then let the arms rise as we breathe in, falling, rising, falling. So the noting comes up as the feeling of rising is experienced. Then we release, and falling is the word that we use to note it. But the experience is first. Using the breath to set the rhythm, and maybe adding a little pause. Rising, pause, no breath, no movement, and release. Falling, pause. So this moment of pausing, this moment of pausing, so we can mark off the beginning as a pause, mark off the ending of the movement as a pause, and a little journey in between, staying with the sensations of beginning and then journey. So the impermanent rising ends for the descent, the release to start. Impermanent. And we can make it a little more complicated. We can reach up with one arm and then return that arm down where it started. Beginning, lifting up and over, releasing, pausing at the end, stillness, rising, falling. Feeling the movement first and then the noting. Pause, begin to move, falling. The falling is a journey. The rising is a journey. Can we stay with the experience of rising all the way through the journey? And switching. The other arm reaches up and over. Sensations, stillness, pause, release. Feeling the pause, this moment of stillness, this moment of stillness. And then we can go into cloud hands and have both hands moving. Coming across, switching, starting a new gesture, pause, switch, return to the other side. This moment, this moment, this journey. Noting the rising and falling, noting the turning and the journey across, switch, across, switch. The whole body cooperating. It's a journey for the hips, for the shoulders, the hands, the feet. Check out the sensations. Which one's predominant here? This moment. And then releasing down, both hands hanging from the shoulders. We feel the connection with the floor again, with the earth below. The rising, falling is just the rib cage now. Sensations beginning to rise, pausing, releasing. One moment of awareness here. In this moment. Lifting the hands up, rocking back and pushing. We can move forward, gesturing, turn the wrist and draw in. So there's a push and a pull. Noting the push, how does it unfold? Noting the pull, simple gesture in an easy rhythm is a little journey. We can note all the transitions. The push has to end for the pull to begin. Intending to turn, we turn, reposition the feet, and push. Pull. Breathe out. Breathe in. Beginnings, endings. Pausing, dropping the arms. Breathing, standing. Aware of feet, in touch with the earth, aware of fabric on the skin, the length of the legs, fabric on the skin, the length of the arms. Rising, falling. And then rising with the arms and falling down the center. rising, falling, pausing. Simple standing. Scanning the body. Bringing the hands together in gratitude for another chance to practice together. We bow to our Sangha. Thank you for the support. Thank you for your attention. We'll see you Saturday, if you wish, on the 18th. That's coming up from 9 to 1 with some more Qigong, some more mindful movement, some sitting practice, and some discussion of some of the poetry that we've explored over the last couple of years. Many seeds for contemplation and reflection. So I'll see you on the 18th or next Sunday. Thank you very much.
Hello, dear friends.
Hi.
Greetings and love from Germany. Nice to see you all. Yeah, it is starts Friday, Thursday, July 21st, and then we teach until Tuesday, July 26th.
Well, there'll be a little bit. Okay. Huh. So, settings change. Software stops working. And here we sit. Now, often, we have as the object of our meditation the objective world. We have breathing or hearing or sounds or smells, sights. For this meditation, we may use some of them as anchors, but most importantly, I want to draw our attention to anicca, to change. So please notice where your body touches the chair. What is it that the experience is here? Is it enduring? Is it solid? Or bringing attention into the hands, what we think of as hands. And go deeper. Go beyond hands. Go beyond the word sensations. And what is it that's there? And I'm not suggesting you find words for it, but what if you just inhabit it? What's there? It is discernible. Is it solid? If we called it a flow, that would be inaccurate. We sometimes speak of flows of energy, but is that really true? Is there a flow? Is there something deeper than that? And let us now take our curiosity into what we think of as breathing. And we can say things like, each breath has a beginning. It has a middle, it has an ending. Are these so-called points real? Is there something discernible that is the middle? The fullness? Is there a beginning and an ending of the middle? Or is what we discover a seamless, mysterious, utterly anicca phenomenon? it's quite probable that the mind has wandered. When the mind has wandered, what's happened to the breath? It disappears. And then with the thoughts, with the wandering mind, how permanent are they? What is it that's observed at the level of observing thoughts as phenomena? This takes work. This practice of observing anicca goes against one of the most profound perceptual distortions of human beings, a delusion. And it's a delusion which makes it possible to create a stable, a separate self. It's a blurriness. And what if we were to cease having any intended object at all and just let awareness rest in the present moment? Or actually, let's try this. Please bring to mind some event that happened some really wonderful event that happened in your past. Something that there's good memories from. And how about some event that happened in your past that you don't have good memories from, maybe unpleasant? And now thinking of the future, creating a future, something that you're looking forward to. Let there be thoughts about it, maybe a little emotion. And then something that you fear, something you don't want to happen. And notice where these exist. They all exist now. And how permanent are they? How real are those memories? How real in terms of something you could count on? And now, to the degree that it's possible, simply stopping and allow awareness to go wherever it wishes. It could be noticing a thought. It could be a sound. It could be lost in wandering mind. And in the doing of this, having in the foreground, what does this teach me about impermanence? Is there anything enduring in this? The following is a teaching from Matt Flickstein. It starts with a quote from Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. In time, all things come to an end and new things are born, to be devoured in their own turn. Do not identify yourself with time. Do not ask anxiously, what next, what next? Step out of time and see it devour the world. Say, well, it is in the nature of time to put an end to everything. Let it be. It does not concern me. And commentary. Recognizing that everything is impermanent can cause fear to arise in the mind. We might think, if everything is in a perpetual state of change, then there's nothing in my life that I can rely upon for security. Everything that I see is in the process of dying, and there is nothing I can do about it. My life will end too, and I don't know when. As Nisargadatta says, we ask anxiously, what next, what next? Even though we may realize various aspects of impermanence, we still tend to hold on to the idea of having an enduring self which resides in the midst of everything else that is impermanent. But this is a fantasy. The sense of self is a story, and as such, it's just as impermanent as everything else in the relative world. The self is an impermanent mind construct believing that it's permanent. A losing battle, to be sure. No wonder everyone who believes in the reality of a self feels fearful and anxious. And so a practice. Observe how everything changes from moment to moment, without thinking about it or commenting upon what you're observing. Witness the incredible change with which things change, the incredible speed with which things change. Watch how everything is in a state of transition with no stability or security anywhere. Finally, open to the realization that if everything is in a constant state of change or transition, if nothing endures, then nothing truly exists. As Nisargadatta said, let it all be. Let it not concern you. Let it devour you. And so let us rest for a little while in this present moment where there's nothing to do, nothing to resist, nothing to become. It's such a relief. Any little step of stopping trying to control reality is such a relief. And please now let us come home to the sensations in what we call the hands. This that is life unfolding. Coming home to the life of the cheeks and the lips. And going beneath cheeks and lips into life. Inhabiting the eyes. Alive. And noticing in mind the intention somehow arises through suggestion. The intention to open the eyes. And then notice how it happens. And where a moment ago there was no seeing, all of a sudden there's seeing. Maybe it's not so all of a sudden, there's a little blurriness. And then there's seeing images. And perhaps go the other way. Let's form the intention to let the eyes close and then watch as seeing vanishes. And one more time the other way, coming to seeing. And there's not a lot of movement on this screen, but there's some. Maybe here with me, watch this. Notice the utter impermanence of it. It's like this, and then it's like this, and then it's gone, then it's back. Ajahn Buddha Dasa, great master in southern Thailand in the last century, said, impermanence shines at us with the brilliance of 1,000,000 suns. It is a miracle that we don't see it. one of the purposes of the meditative side of the Eightfold Path, the wise effort and wise mindfulness and concentration and the development of the enlightenment factors, is the learning that we go so far beyond relaxation and stress management. And we go into a realm beyond psychological and emotional well-being. They're both subsets of what occurs when the meditation becomes clarifying and so clear that we can no longer deny the truth of impermanence. We see how thoughts think themselves, and we see how people come and go into our lives, and we look forward to dinner and then it's gone, and so on. I just remembered a moment of insight in my life around anicca, a big moment actually. I'd done a 10-day retreat in India, and then I came back, and it was 2 years later. I was doing 2 months of very intensive meditation, and there was a lunch. It was in California, and there was a good lunch, and then there was dessert, and dessert was strawberry shortcake, and I was given a substantial piece of strawberry shortcake, and the strawberries were I guess they'd put some sugar on them maybe. And anyway, there was lots of liquid, and so there was a liquid that had soaked up into the shortcake, and I was so happy to have this beautiful dessert, and I really got into it, very mindfully eating, and then it was gone. And all that was left for the rest of the day was me. And at 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the afternoon, there was a train that went by. That was all I really looked forward to. And then that was gone. But the strawberry shortcake, I really had never really ever noticed how transient it is. Which then, of course, leaves me wanting the next thing. And in the case of retreat, there's a fast from activities happening, so it becomes really obvious. And then I guess to say one more thing, which is suffering varies inversely with insight into anicca. The more we understand anicca, the more we can simply be in life as it is and not be blown around so much by the vicissitudes, the polarities, the pleasure, pain, gain, loss, those things. Because of course it ended. Oh, look, it's beginning. Well, this is the first time. There will be a last. Just this morning I was thinking of this with I chanced upon a picture of our dog Dobby, who's now 9.5, I think. A picture of her at 8 weeks. We got her at 8 or 10 weeks. Just a cute little puppy. And I remember holding her and thinking, well, likely I will outlive her and I will get to see her whole life cycle. We never know, but probable. So there will be less shock or surprise when it's time for her to go. So I think that's all I want to say, and I would like to invite you, if you have something you'd like to share, some understanding of anicca, please unmute and my falling silent is anicca. Hello, Joshua, fresh from retreat. Did you hear the tapes with Goenkaji chanting about equanimity? Equanimity. You are developing equanimity. In our meditation, when we stop, when we park ourselves, or when we, even more, when we go on retreat, there's a way that we make a vow or an intention, which is, I intend to sit here and stay conscious, stay present, no matter what. And then everything balances out just right. The morning coffee is at the optimal level. The body energy state is clear and clean, and the mind has abandoned the 5 hindrances, and there's a sense of expansiveness and maybe lots of love and compassion, and it's really nice. And with equanimity, we receive, yes, this is really nice. This is pleasure. And then later in the day, the coffee wears off, and then you're in a down energetically. And for reasons unknown, the psyche has chosen to present a circumstance from the past where you're really angry at someone, or you've got hatred towards yourself, and the person beside you is breathing loudly. And you have a canker sore or something else. And how is it to be present with that? Just as present, just as willing to accept, just as spacious, really, as with the other polarity. And in equanimity, the practice of equanimity is the willingness to meet the present moment with compassion and patience, and to bear the wonderful and delicious and fantastic and successful, and to bear the opposite of that. And the normal human conditioning is that we would fight the unpleasant, and maybe we wouldn't. I'm not going to stay here. I'm going to go because I don't have to put up with this stuff. I don't want to have this unpleasantness. But one of the things that we do in meditation through sitting down and stopping is we learn how to ride with what's arising with much, over time, with vastly less reactivity. It's like, this is really unpleasant. This is really pleasant. And anicca And Nietzsche is kind of one of the root causes of suffering, because we have all the conditions come together and we have a beautiful blossoming of something. And it's like, yes, this sunset, this person I'm with, etc., this is incredible. But it always, I just realized I should move you up here. There we go, closer to the camera. What's wonderful is always passing away. What's terrible is always passing away. And equanimity is the capacity that we develop of riding with whatever arises. It's not numbness. It isn't not caring at all. It isn't hard-heartedness. It's yes, I see what's happening. I feel it. I know it. And I don't have to be reactive to it. That makes sense? I think it's the shorthand is, I think it's becoming grown up. Becoming grown up. But not that many people develop equanimity who are not spiritual practitioners. And then something isn't going right, so therefore I start a conflict, or I start a craving, or I head for my drug of choice or whatever, because this moment isn't acceptable. And then we cease to develop our personal resiliency. Thanks for the question. Denise, hello. Hi. Oh boy. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Denise. You just reminded me of something. It's a save the date thing. I just decided, here I'm getting to my calendar. Save the date, January 4th, next year, 7 to 9 p.m. I'm going to invite you and everybody to come to a Zoom meeting, and I'm going to play the book is The Year of Magical Thinking, and the speaker is Vanessa Redgrave, And I've been enamored of her for 45 years. And the whole of the book, The Year of Magical Thinking, takes about 5.5 hours on Audible. But Vanessa did, somehow or another, they created, I think it was for the stage, they created an hour and 30-minute reading or performance of the story of what happened to Didion. What's her first name? Joan Didion, when her husband died in front of her at the dinner table. And her daughter also died a few months later. And it's an amazing story. It's a reflection on what a human mind might be doing in a year following such an event. It's very touching, very inspiring, I think. And so I'm going to do that, and it's open to everybody, no charge. I think we're going to do no charge, no donations even, because it's a copyrighted thing, and we're just going to share it rather than have it as a fundraiser of any kind. So, January 4th. Thank you for sharing, and may it all go smoothly and beautifully tomorrow morning. What time? Thank you. Yeah. I, of course, have thoughts of that every day with my old dog, Budo, who's 18. He's still fine. And I watch every day. Did he eat? Well, time to end momentarily, but I want to check, is anyone sitting with something that would like to be spoken before we go? Sure. Hi, Tamara. There you are. I see. You are up here on my screen, too. Hi. Thanks, Tamara. Let's end this morning in what will for some be a familiar way. I've ended retreats with this for 20 years or more, maybe. In Islam, there are 101 beautiful names of God. Most Islamic prayer begins with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We begin in the name of Allah, whose names are compassion and mercy. There's another one, a favorite of mine. These are called wazifas, and it's Ya Fatah. And Ya Fatah means, one version of it is, may the path of your heart open before you. Just let that resonate in, may the path of your heart open before you. That's an amazing wish, isn't it? May your deepest longings come to pass. And the way we do it is we get our hands to our hearts. In a group, it's a loud chant, but I think it works better on the screen to pick a person and then concentrate on them for a moment, and then letting the energy of all this practice fill your hands, and then looking at them do Ya Fatah. And also, as we do this, remember that probably several times during this, several people are wishing for you. May the path of your heart open before you. It's very similar to may all beings receive all blessings. I mean, I guess there's only a few really big wishes. So we'll do it 10 times or so. You ready? And please unmute, because it's much more interesting and I think connecting. And thank you for coming today, Frank. Nice to see you. Ya Fatah. 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 5 more times. Ya Fatah. Ya Fatah. Ya Fatah. Ya Fatah. And don't forget yourself. Ya Fatah. Happy trails, dear friends. Have a wonderful rest of Sunday and see you Monday morning, perhaps. Happy trails. Nice. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for being here this morning.